It's almost here, Valentine's Day. Some people love it, some people hate it, some people don't really care. Either way, but it is coming regardless. And what we have going on at Sage is a Sacred Sister Circle that is going to be on February 8th, where Brandy Holloway, our sacred space practitioner, is going to lead anyone who identifies as a woman in ceremony and ritual to discover all things about self-love and how to care for you. So have a listen here as we recycle one of our oldies but goodies from last year, and we hope you enjoy it. Take care.
Sage is a 501c3 nonprofit organization building community by providing education and counseling about physical, mental, and spiritual well-being. We encourage all of our listeners to find their own path to what holistic wellness means to you.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Sage Holistic Health and Wellness Center show. I'm Emily Sellis, your host, and I have Brandy Holloway here with me today. So excited to have you back.
Thank you.
Today we're going to be talking all about self-love and also how to honor the divine feminine. So go ahead, Brandy, and jump into this awesome topic.
So I thought this would be a good topic to tackle as Valentine's Day is approaching.
Yes.
And people have really different feelings about Valentine's Day. Personally, my partner and I, we don't tend to celebrate it. But I know some people do. And Valentine's Day can also be triggering because there's a lot of expectations.
Mm-hmm.
So perhaps your partner disappoints you, or maybe you don't have a partner and you're just feeling lonely and sad. And so this is just a good time to kind of bring up self-care.
Absolutely. Yeah, so self-love, self-care being the focus.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times, like, the focus is on the other, right? Like, what is that other person doing for me, or what are they not doing for me, or I don't have another person, like you're saying. So this idea of self-love, kind of bringing that focus, I just love that, because here we are, and what can we do? What do we have control over? We have control over how we have a relationship with ourselves.
Yeah, so I think it's important to remember that you have to love yourself before you can fully love another person, and that's just part of having a healthy relationship. And unfortunately, in this society as women, we are often giving all the time to our partners, to our children, to our career, other family members. There's just so many obligations that we don't take time to really honor that part of ourselves and give ourselves the space to even figure out who you are and what it is that you like and how you want to spend your time.
Right.
So we had talked a little bit about some of the classes and workshops that we might be able to offer to people, and one of the thing that we came up with is this idea of a goddess workshop. And I know goddess is kind of a trendy word right now, but I think it's also a great word because it's just like, for me, it just brings visions of, you know, beauty and power and self-empowerment. So yeah, I thought it would be fun to talk a little bit about what that means, you know, to be a goddess and to honor your own divine feminine self.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, dive in.
So as part of my work and my interest in ritual and sacred space, one of the things that I kind of came up with is this idea of, you know, a goddess ceremony. And I think, again, tying in with Valentine's Day, it's really great to kind of set some time aside and be intentional about honoring yourself. We know that, you know, stories of goddesses have been around since the beginning of time. And there was a point where gods and goddesses as deities were sort of worshipped together. And so there are infinite stories of goddesses from various, you know, religious traditions. And we won't get into all of that now, but we will talk a little bit about one particular goddess that I kind of wanted to use as inspiration for this workshop, and that's the goddess Tara. So she's known throughout the Hindu tradition and also the Buddhist tradition. And she really is a great inspiration because she embodies compassion and self-love. So that's kind of what I figured the focus could be for this workshop that we're going to do. I think we're all familiar and aware of like the self-help movement. I don't know about you, but I have like tons of books on my bookshelf.
Favorite kind of book, yeah.
And I think this whole idea of honoring the divine feminine, honoring your inner goddess, is really kind of taking that a step further.
How so? How do you mean a step further?
So I think, you know, when we're talking about self-help and self-improvement, we're looking for external ways that we can make ourselves stronger and get validation maybe for some of the things that we need. And I really think that this honoring the goddess is really more about accepting who you are, where you're at right now, your vulnerabilities, your fears, your strengths, and really just being okay, like standing in that place, and being okay with who you are right now, knowing that you're in a cycle throughout your life and you're a work in progress, and it's okay to be where you are.
I love that though, because like when you say the term goddess, it's almost like, oh, well, I'm not a goddess, right? But it's like,
but you are.
But you are, right? I mean, that's the whole idea of it, is like believing that you are something instead of something that you're not, like waiting to be something different. But just honoring that divine within you. And that does come from a religious belief then, like that we all have a piece of divinity within us. But it's also a very spiritual belief. You know, it's something that the collective consciousness, you know, that we can try that on and see how that feels. Again, like just to say, how does that feel? What do those words mean to me? And how does that feel to say that, or to kind of jump into that space?
Absolutely. And I think, you know, it starts, for me personally, it starts with setting boundaries. Setting boundaries on my time and my energy, what I am capable of accomplishing, you know, in 24 hours. And really just saying, okay, I am going to honor where I'm at right now. I'm going to tune in and listen to what my needs are first, so that I can fill myself up before I give to somebody else. Even my children. And kind of recognizing where you're at. So there's tons of ideas, things that you can do for self-care. I really like the idea, again, coming back to ritual and sacred space, of just making sure that you're taking time to be intentional in your practice. It could be just standing outside and having your morning coffee as you watch the sun rise, and really taking some deep breaths and allowing yourself to kind of be in the moment. It can be setting up your altar with your candles and your goddess inspiration, whatever that might be. Making your space pretty. It can be just going for a walk. You know, maybe getting away on your lunch break. So there's just, again, infinite possibilities, but it's really about whatever speaks to you and knowing what it is that you need in that moment.
So boundaries, you know, being able to create some space for yourself, like that's part of what it means to you to honor that divine feminine within you.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, being okay with where you are in your life and in your cycle. You know, whatever's happening for you, and knowing that there's always lessons to be learned. I think it's incredibly strong to be open with the things that you're vulnerable about. Because that's opportunity for growth.
I agree. And I think that I mean, we're kind of speaking to women. I mean, being that this is goddesses, I mean, although anyone can be a goddess, any gender.
And to be inclusive, anyone who identifies as a goddess is a goddess.
Right, exactly. Or if you're a male and you want to identify with the term God, right? I mean, that you could do that as well. And just trying to think about all these variations of ways to do that. But it's tough to say, I'm going to be okay with where I'm at right now, because I think part of our society is always pushing us to do more, be more, get more done in that 24-hour period. And then to say, look, this is where I'm at, and I'm going to be okay with that. I'm going to be okay with this speed that I'm going, with this place that I'm at, with the other needs and priorities that I have, and
Yeah.
take that downtime, like you said, to go for that walk at lunch,
Mhm.
or to take a moment to meditate in the morning before you start your day,
Yeah.
or whatever that, you know, that ritual might be that you're going to do that's going to bring you some space
Yeah.
for yourself.
Yeah. So, some of the things that we're gonna do in our workshop,
Mhm.
we're gonna have an
Yeah,
opportunity
tell them about
to,
that.
we're gonna have an opportunity to practice.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, you know, you can read about all this stuff and watch the podcast, but until you actually sit down and have the experience,
Yeah.
and then you know how good you feel afterwards.
Right.
So we're gonna practice some meditation. We're gonna practice. We'll do a guided meditation to learn about, clearing and balancing our energy, meeting our own inner goddess. We'll do a guided meditation,
Mm-hmm.
and then even put
great.
together a little toolkit. We'll have a little gift bag that you can take with you after we're done.
That's awesome. And learning more about Goddess Tara,
Yes,
too, right?
yes,
Who
and learning
is,
about Goddess Tara.
you said she's the female version of Buddha?
Yes.
Is that what you were saying?
Yeah.
Which I thought that's so cool. I mean, who
Yeah.
doesn't love Buddha?
Right?
Great. And this is the female version. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what?
And we use her as inspiration again.
Mhm.
So the idea is we'll have a series of these workshops, and then maybe we can learn a little bit about different goddesses
Yeah.
throughout the year.
Figure out how to pull those positive things inward and kind of make them our own.
Yeah.
So that's really exciting.
Mhm.
Did you want to add anything else, or?
I think this is probably more particular to women in general, but as goddesses, we're meant to be together, to collaborate, to share burdens and joys and celebrate. And I like the idea of when we get together, we really are kind of like birth centers for social change. And if we can
That's
start,
powerful.
if we can start with caring for ourselves, and then it becomes caring for each other. And I just think as goddesses, we have a lot of power and potential to just change the world. So,
Yeah, figuring out how to own that power and how to learn how to do that. How do we own our power and come into that and like share space, like you said, really starts with being vulnerable. You mentioned that earlier in the show, and being able to be vulnerable and sharing our own heartache about, for example, say, oh, I'm feeling less than, or I'm feeling like I'm not at this place that I want to be. You know, we're talking about being able to push that aside and to say we're going to be okay with where we're at, but sometimes that first step might be just being able to say how disappointed we are that we aren't where we thought we wanted to be, to be able to shed that expectation that we hold for ourselves and for this community of other goddesses, to be able to like buoy us up and kind of help us step into our power, being the power of where we are. You know, that it's not power that we'll get to once we get to this XYZ. It's just being able to just be where we're at and knowing that there's always power within that.
Yes.
That's really awesome.
It's very powerful.
Yeah, powerful. It's really awesome to be able to hear that and for us to be able to take that into our own lives. I mean, we all learn from each other. You do such an amazing job with your classes and workshops that you offer at Sage, and so anybody that attends that is going to leave feeling uplifted and just joined with a great group of people.
Yeah.
Because we always have such awesome sagers that come in here. I don't know what we're going to call people that come
Building
into the class.
community. It's always building community. It's
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
stuff.
So anyway, thank you so much for being here with us today, and take a look at our website to find out more about the class or any other upcoming workshops that Brandy has to offer at www.sagewellnessctr.org. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you for spending some of your time today with us at Sage Holistic Health and Wellness Center. If you like what we're all about, please consider supporting our nonprofit organization by making a tax-deductible donation. To do this, you can go to our website at www.sagewellnessctr.org and click on Donate in the upper right-hand corner. We look forward to spending some time again with you real soon. Take good care.